Michigan cop resigns after racist rant and drug bust, gets rehired a year later. By Darius Spearman, African Elements. Support African Elements at patreon.com/AfricanElements and hear recent news in a single playlist. Additionally, you can gain early access to ad-free video content. A disturbing case highlights issues with police accountability after a Michigan police officer resigned in 2022 when a video caught him using racial slurs and attempting to buy drugs while off-duty. The same department shockingly rehired him just a year later in 2023, News 1. The incident occurred in Saginaw, Michigan, where Officer Greg Marin had served since 2015. In the damning video, Marin repeatedly uses the N-word and other offensive language. He also discusses trying to purchase. In the video, Marin can be heard repeatedly using the N-word and other offensive language. He also discusses trying to purchase cocaine. News 1. Marin resigns, then gets rehired a year later. After the video surfaced, Marin resigned from the Saginaw Police Department to avoid termination. However, in a stunning turn of events, the same department rehired him just a year later in 2023. The city has not provided any explanation for allowing him to return. Patron, CWSF 2005. This troubling incident has sparked outrage, with many arguing it demonstrates a severe lack of accountability for police misconduct. Rehiring officers with documented offenses like racism and attempted drug purchases enables problematic behavior to continue unchecked. News 1, CWSF 2005. Bar chart displaying the number of officers fired for misconduct and those reinstated after appeals since 2006, illustrating challenges in police accountability. Incidents like this severely undermine public trust in law enforcement, especially among communities of color that have long experienced discrimination and abuse from police. It points to the urgent need for more robust accountability measures to prevent unfit officers from remaining on the force. News 1. This case highlights issues with police accountability and reform. Critics argue that rehiring officers with documented misconduct enables problematic behavior to continue. News 1. To restore public faith, police departments must take misconduct seriously and permanently remove officers who commit egregious offenses. Rehiring problem cops implies law enforcement tolerates racism and criminal behavior within its ranks. Systemic changes can rebuild police-community relations and ensure all citizens receive fair treatment, regardless of race. Implementing strict accountability and zero-tolerance policies for misconduct is the only way to repair trust in policing. The rehiring of Greg Marin in Michigan is a step in the wrong direction that must be corrected. News 1, Baltimore.bin News. This line graph depicts the declining trend in public trust in police from 2020 to 2022, highlighting a decrease from 51% to 45%. Public confidence in law enforcement has eroded in recent years, particularly among communities of color. A Pew Research Center survey found trust in police fell from 51% to 45% over 3 years, Pew Research Center. The decline was especially steep among Black Americans. Racial disparities in policing experiences are stark. Almost half of Black adults, including 2/3 of Black men, reported being unfairly stopped by police, Pew Research Center. In contrast, only 19% of Hispanic adults and 9% of white adults said the same. Holding officers accountable for misconduct remains a challenge. Since 2006, major departments have fired over 1,800 officers, but arbitrators later reinstated many of them, Pew Research Center. Significant gaps also exist in misconduct data reporting. In 2021, just over 2/3 of law enforcement agencies submitted crime data to the FBI's National Incident-Based Reporting System. Less than half provided data to the FBI's Use of Force database in 2022. The White House. Rebuilding public trust will require robust data collection, increased transparency, and meaningful accountability for misconduct. While the path forward is challenging, the broad consensus around common-sense reforms offers reason for hope. policymakers must act with urgency to implement changes that can repair police-community relations. Despite eroding trust, widespread support exists for specific measures to improve policing. Around 90% of Americans favor requiring de-escalation training and creating a federal misconduct database, Pew Research Center. Majorities also back giving oversight boards investigative powers, residency requirements for officers, and banning chokeholds. About the author. Darius Spearman has been a professor of Black Studies at San Diego City College, where he has been pursuing his love of teaching since 2007. He is the author of several books, including Between the Color Lines, A History of African Americans on the California Frontier through 1890. You can visit Darius online at africanelements.org.